How is everyone doing? Welcome to the Clydesdale Chronicles with Coach Cheryl. My name is Scott Schweitzer. I'm the Clydesdale. She is Cheryl. Coach Cheryl. How are you doing, Cheryl?
I'm doing great. How are you, Scott?
Good. Well, we're recording this the week of Christmas. And so I want to talk about where I was last year on my journey at this time, because we had not started working together yet at the holidays. And I will say that at this point, so my dad passed away in October. And by the time I hit December, I was in a very, very deep depression. And when the holidays came, there was no seatbelt, no rails, no lines on the road. I was just doing whatever I wanted nutritionally, and almost to that like give up point again. And that's when you and I kind of connected on Instagram, and I'd asked you to be on my podcast. And I started doing research into what you had gone through. And then we met and I saw hope again. In addition to like going to counseling and doing all the things I needed to do to get my mind right, with you, I saw hope again in my nutrition path. So what I think is cool and what I'm excited to see this year is, last year I had no rails, no seatbelt. I was completely off the hook when it came to Christmas. And then this year, you have taught me so much when I'm on the road, how I need to adjust my mindset, that there are sometimes you just can't control where you are and what's available. And you just have to do the best you can do in that moment and keep moving forward. Yeah. And so I'm excited this year, and it's going to be very different for me, but I just want to get your thoughts as a coach, because that's kind of when we met. That's when we went through all this stuff. And what were your thoughts during that time?
Dude, it's so awesome that we're recording this week of Christmas, because, every year around this time of year, as a nutrition coach, I'm like, people are not going to want to talk to me. Like, I am the last person that somebody wants to talk to when they're thinking about the holidays. And when they realize that my sole goal for everything from Thanksgiving through the new year is that people get to spend time with family and all of those things. And going back to that time and you being off the rails and knowing what you were going through, there's so many other components of nutrition that people don't even focus on. And so for you, like in a depression, like food is obviously medicine for a lot of people in one way or the other, whether it's a good drug or a bad drug, we use it, for a purpose. And I think that, for you now speaking about this, I think honestly, it's been an amazing year for you. Lots of ups, a couple of downs, but this year with all of the things I've hopefully taught you, you've understood how to have that self-control, but also be able to enjoy food a little bit. And so, I think right now for me, back then I remembered kind of connecting with you on Instagram, and I was beginning to like really get interested in your podcast and listening to your interviews. And I always thought you had, just a really good understanding of the athletes you were interviewing. You always looked into them, and it made me excited to like listen. And then when I got invited on your podcast, I was excited, and all of these things. And so now I'm just excited to be able to give that back to you this year, dude. I'm like so excited that this year, that I hope that you enjoy your holiday meals and don't feel guilty about it. Because I think that the biggest thing when it comes to this is that, even looking at people that go off the rails, why do we go off the rails? Is it a piece of inhibition that we don't want to have to hold back? And we think that this is like almost forbidden and it makes us feel good. Whereas when I'm like, you guys can eat whatever you want. Like, there is no limitations. By the way, all of your choices are going to have obviously, consequences, but you should be able to eat whatever you want. And I think that it's one of the biggest things is like from because I've been nutrition coaching now for quite a few years. And from like Thanksgiving through New Year's, my sole goal is like, just maintain your weight. If you're up a couple pounds, you're still maintaining to me. If you're down a couple pounds, great. But, and that was our conversation earlier this year or earlier this month, is like, just want to maintain through the holidays. That's what I want for you guys, because it shows me that you guys are learning the right tools. And so, when it comes into the holidays, I think that I wish people would understand that the holidays are part of the plan. They're not a break from the plan. It is a built-in part of the plan. And I was just telling you, I was working on something today. I was thinking about periodization and how this is a period of time where losing weight should not be the focus at Christmas dinner. Enjoying the food should be the focus at Christmas dinner, enjoying the family, but I'm very happy that you're in a better place and you're going to actually be able to be present mentally for that experience. Because my thoughts are, last year, you probably weren't very present mentally at the holiday meal. You were probably there, you were probably eating, but that food wasn't serving the purpose that it's meant to, which is I'm enjoying meal with my family because you were grieving the loss of your father. So.
Yeah, and this year's very different for us. We're actually going to have Christmas here in Columbus, Ohio. So my mom is coming over here. My nephew lives across town, so we're doing it at his house. And what's great is we're not doing the traditional Christmas meal. My mom isn't baking pies this year. We're having a few cookies, and we're doing more of a barbecue type theme. With some salads and vegetables and things like that. So we're going to have some alternatives, and we're going to enjoy every bit of that food.
That's so crazy that you live up in like a cold area and you're doing like barbecue theme. I feel like that's something that I should be doing in Florida, but
we're CrossFitters.
Yeah. I love it.
We can handle the cold.
Yeah. Well, since we're talking holidays, dude, I would just really love to give the listeners out there a couple of things about the holidays that I've been sharing with you guys. So, going the middle of November, I started like a 6-week, kind of like a metabolic reset / holiday accountability. Just wanted to give people some education on what it looks like to eat at maintenance, because most people only dial in their nutrition when they're trying to lose weight. And there's a lot of things that taking this time and being able to eat a little bit more and not feel guilty about it can do for you and your results. Because if you actually are taking the time to feel satisfied and not slightly hungry all the time, food is not as powerful as it was. And when you become comfortable with that, now when you guys go on vacation in March and April and July, because those vacations and holidays come up too, you've had this experience and you're able to use those things you've learned and how you felt and all those things to go on throughout the year. It's not a break from the plan. It's part of it, and it teaches you so much. And and I think the other thing that I've really, really harped on everybody with is understanding that Christmas Eve and Christmas Day are 2 days. And every week we've talked a little bit about party priorities and things like that people can use to be more successful, right? We could legit have a celebration every single day if we wanted to. You can meet up for a buddy at lunch. You can have dinner with your wife at dinner. You can, go to breakfast next morning with a coworker. You could always have a reason to celebrate with food. And it's learning which meals actually matter most to you to be able to be more indulgent in, and which ones can you be like, I'm going to choose the grilled chicken and the salad because that's going to work better for my goals. And I'm going to save the higher calorie meals for Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, whatever that looks like to you. And that's some of the strategies that I really want. And I'm grateful that, as I'm going through each week with the clients, that everybody's catching on to that pretty quickly. I haven't really had to really backtrack and kind of harp on anything in particular, and it allows people to, check-in day today was great, lost down 20 pounds down this. I'm like, it's awesome. Great Christmas present for me. So yeah.
Yeah. And for me, it's even more difficult because I have a wife's birthday 1 week before Christmas and my birthday 1 week after. And the nice thing about birthdays though, is you can go out to dinner, and then once that meal's over, it's over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's no leftovers. There's nothing to pick at. You go out, you have your meal, and you're done.
Yeah.
So it's just that meal.
I love that. And it's funny that you say that, because I told a lot of people this around Thanksgiving is like, if you guys tend to be the kind of people that don't like to throw away food, because I'm that person, I hate wasting food. Send it home with people. Like, don't make it tempting. And I mean, I actually, full transparency, I'm not sure if you got it or not today yet, but I had put out an email about an episode that I had, back when I was really trying to eat clean and eliminate anything that was not like from the ground. And I was making Christmas cookies. It's my thing every single year. I used to make cookie trays and I had made way too many cookies and I didn't want to throw them away. So I was like, I'm going to put them in my freezer. And I like just ate one and it was like, nope, I gotta have another one because it tasted good. And it was like, nope, I want another one. And it was like suddenly I couldn't stop. And so don't leave that to yourself. If you know you're that person, as much as I can say people are going to learn, you will over time. It took me a long time to be comfortable now having candy in my freezer and knowing that I can have a piece whenever I want it. But the more you the more you make yourself practice willpower, the more you're going to diminish it. You're not going to, willpower is finite. It's not something that you can just like have as much of. We can only practice so much of it. So don't leave yourself that option of being able to just go in there and grab it. Send it home with people and save the things that you know that you can eat easily. Like, turkey and ham are pretty, you can put them on a salad, you can put them in a wrap and things like that. You don't need to have the mashed potatoes again and all those kinds of things. So yeah.
Yeah. And you've said it, we've said it on this a million times, that you don't have to be so restrictive. I love that you said that willpower isn't infinite. Yeah. It is finite and you only have so much of it. If by not being restrictive, you don't have those cravings that you always have. And I've found that to be true over this year. And that's why I'm more excited about this holiday season than any other, because I know I can just partake a little bit, have that flavor of what I want and move on with the rest of my week.
I love that. And I actually want to ask you about that because this would be a great thing for people to hear is, from where you were before, knowing that you had tried other dietary strategies and things like that, and you'd been very successful. Do you feel like this year is different on a mental aspect, not just from last year, but from years in the past with how you've kind of viewed Thanksgiving through New Year's? Like, has that period of time been different for you at all in terms of food, or even if it is just the holiday? I'm just kind of curious to get that feedback from you.
So yeah, when I lost weight before, I was very, very restrictive. I gave myself a cheat meal every week, maybe a couple weeks. What happened then at the holidays is the one day bled into much more. Mm-hmm. And then it was kind of reeling it back in. And then you get to Christmas. And then that day bled into a week. And you get like halfway through the week and you're like, well, my birthday is just around the corner. So I might as well just let it all hang out till my birthday. And that's what would happen. Mm-hmm. Where this year, I don't feel like that's going to be the case.
Yeah, I love that. And the reason I say that is, and I wanted you to really, I was hoping that was going to be your answer in a way, because I don't think people understand how many people have that same mentality, and that the goals that people want to achieve come from not the diet, not the training, not the exercise, the food. It comes from changing mindsets like that of, I've got to eat so good. Like I talked about my cookies and you talked about, you having cheat meals. There is no cheat meal. I don't feel the need to eat 3 dozen cookies now in a sitting. Like when you realize that it's a lot more mindset related changes that you have to make, that's when people get success that lasts and doesn't feel restrictive. It doesn't feel like a diet per se. It's just your mindset has changed. Nothing else has really changed. And it really is what makes a difference between people that get success and the ones that stay stuck at the beginning, because the ones that get success understand that there is a mental component of this that has to be addressed, and that there are things that are going to change. And that's a good thing. The goal is improving your mindset, not diminishing it. So yeah.
Well, I think that's a perfect place to end this holiday edition of the Clydesdale Chronicles. So with that, we want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Once this releases, we are taking 2 weeks off, and then
much deserved.
And we'll be back at it in the middle of the first week of January, putting some stuff together, and we will see you then. But Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and bless you all.
Merry Christmas. All right.